We are pleased to introduce Mr. Suji Yan, the founder of Mask Network, the organizer of today's summit. Mr. Yan will deliver a closing speech on the evolution of social networks and its future of decentralization. Hello, Suji.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
And pleasure to meet everyone again. Yeah. And thanks for hosting and helpful host to stay up this late night. And I'd love to wrap up today's main stage conference and also prepare some interesting thoughts for the upcoming hackathon. Today, I wanted to share about the evolution of social network and the future of decentralization. Especially, this is becoming a huge topic. I believe Vitalik mentioned this a few times, and many core Ethereum developers mentioned this a few times, calling people not only to take a serious look of decentralized finance, but also many other experiments on top of the blockchain. Right? I think social network is definitely one of it. And I would love to have a very brief introduction of my story, which is very lame because I think 90% is very like other founder in the industry. So I jumped into the decentralized world around 2016. My college professor, Andrew Miller, was the co-founder of Zcash. There's many old friends. They're also very connected to the Ethereum and the early layer 1 story. So I was really into the idea. And also I was an independent journalist. So if you talk to any social activist, they can tell you, oh, okay, the crypto is helping us to do the social activism. That's how I started. And later on, Mask become one of the leading social project, decentralized social project in the States. And we did raise a lot of money from different backers and start to deploy strategic grant and check to help the younger funders and other protocols. Here's my understanding of what Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 is actually quite standard, just like many other, you can read from the blog of A16Z or many other VCs, right? Web 1 is read, Web 2 is read write, Web 3 is read write on. I wanted to add some difference, personal feeling about the difference between Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. Especially from a class struggle perspective. It's a very unique perspective. So Web 2 today, we're clearly in some kind of cyber feudalism that we have kings. We have platforms, monopolized platforms, just like the pre-medieval European state, European castles, and it's like war garden state. You're bounded by this area. You're not allowed to leave this king's land without paying him or her. You're not allowed to move your asset around. You're not allowed to carry your digital workfruit, which is probably data around. It's clearly the cyber feudalism, which is the situation we're living in today. You cannot really carry your data from Twitter to Facebook or vice versa, right? So that's clearly some kind of feudalism. I will use feudalism because it's a much more stronger word than read write or read write on, right? Because the difference of read write and read write on, I think, is the difference between feudalism and early capitalism. And I think Web3 is somehow some kind of cyber capitalism, or it's the early stage of democratic socialism in cyberspace. We certainly have some more freedom. It's permissionless and decentralized internet, so we can move around our asset. The walled garden is breaking down. People can vote. User can control their asset, and there's less king and there's more elected officials. Well, even though there's still some problem, but I think it's like pretty much the modern the cyberspace version of early capitalism, and we're heading towards the democratic socialism. There's many aspects. If you look into the governance of this information, you probably see, this kind of transaction is happening right now. Yeah. And the problem is like, despite the really cool class struggle abstraction I'm using, like everyone love to leave their feudalism, go work out in place and join into like a democratic socialism place that you can vote. But it depends on how much cost you want to pay, right? You don't want to just pay a lot of costs for voting, and you don't want to pay, you don't want to endure a lot of technical difficulty. Just say, hey, okay, finally I own my own data, which I don't really know how to use them, right? And just put them somewhere and eventually go back to the monopolized platform because I give up. That's what's happened, right? And we have examples like Tor network, which is widely used for the deep web or dark web. And unfortunately, it's like being criminalized by the mainstream. People think it's all bad people using that. And there's like Telegram, Signal, or even though it's really cool, it's still semi-centralized and still owned by a king. It's not solving the problem, right? So there's a lot of difficulties we're facing when we think about the Web3, especially how the mass adoption can happen in the form of social network or how people gathering on cyberspace. Then what is SocialFi, right? What is SocialFi? We redefined this terminology back in last August because I want to just add some interesting different thoughts on SocialFi. We clearly know what is DeFi. DeFi is a decentralized finance. Basically, it's the revolution of the decentralized industry against the traditional finance. It could be banks, it could be investment banks, could be like the lending mortgage firm, could be all the middlemen in between. So if you want to do business in cyberspace, you want to cut all the middlemen, or you want to have new version of middlemen that really don't have any clear ownership, they don't really exploit you. So you have DeFi, you can lend money, you can do all the things. And then what is NFT or GameFi? I think NFT or GameFi, in my opinion, is the decentralization of Hollywood. Clearly, Hollywood can produce Captain American, and in China, you can do like other kind of like Zhan Long style movie. But if you can do vice versa, which means the propaganda machine is pretty much state-owned, state-controlled. And GameFi or NFT create a new possibility that you can just say, hey, I have a random idea, I want to make some NFT. If you're lucky enough in the bull market, people come and you can direct your own creation afterward. So yeah, that's the GameFi in my opinion. That's the revolution against the state-owned propaganda machine, which is in the form of Hollywood or any kind of like other mass media production, entertainment business. And SocialFi is the revolution towards the social network. By adding independence of the financial system, maybe you can do some like social to earn, but it's not really the key. Key is to make the collection of user data transparent and non-temperable, and then eventually value them through an automated system, rather relatively transparent and automated system, relatively than a black box owned by Mr. Zuckerberg. Right? That's this definition of SocialFi. And last year we launched the SocialFi Alliance with many players in the industry, including layer ones like Polygon and developer organization like Bitcoin. I believe they have delivered their own thoughts about today's Web3. And then the path toward the decentralized social network, right? And there's basically two paths. Like one is the Web3 native path, right? The native protocols disrupt, they just create something to disrupt and enhance the usability and social elements of Web2, which there's many great examples. Like Lens protocol is trying to do that. And another is like wave is the Web2 giants undo and restructure, which is also some method we're talking about every day. If you look into Twitter's story, the drama between Elon Musk and Twitter acquisition, and Drake Dorsey and his Blue Sky invasion. By the way, Musk is the founding member of Blue Sky back in 2090. We're the earliest community member. if you look into their attempt, no matter they try to acquire the very popular Twitter, or they try to re-decentralize that, it's basically undo and restructure the Web2 giants. Well, that's also a path Mass is trying to do. I say, hey, people don't need to leave Twitter or Facebook. You can just stay there and do some amazing stuff on the social network. And you can also partner with the Western native people. Say maybe you can add the Lens protocol, or there's many other like Lit protocol, RSS3, at least 5 our Hackathon sponsor are in social space. You can add them together. That's the amazing part, right? And then the new infrastructure and ecosystem will come, right? So the goal of Web3 social network is to use the innovative design and technology to counter the centralized monopolistic behavior of Web2, and to fight back the right to information digital identity from the platforms to the netizens or to cyber citizens, right? And we are the cyber citizens, and it's just part of the revolution in a great scale. And this revolution carries the weight from DeFi, NFT, DAOs, and from even the earlier Bitcoin, Ethereum. And I love this graph here because it basically one revolution follows another revolution, and that's how it eventually work out for the Web3 social network. In the case of Mass Network, I've been using this feature for years, but in the case of Mass Network, we try to think about things that people have not really tried back in 2018 when we started this thing. In the 90s, if you're into the tech history, you're probably going to remember the war between Microsoft and Netscape Navigator. The Netscape Navigator is first generation browser created by Mark Henderson, and they now persuade user to leave Windows. Because if you try to say people leave Windows and join Linux in the 90s, it's impossible, right? Even though the open source operating system is way better than the closed source Windows, Microsoft Windows. But what they're trying to do, Netscape, is say, there's something called web, really cool. And we try to let user to install a simple software on top of the operating system. And by installing that, and then by browsing over the Netscape Navigator, you actually become user of OS within OS, and eventually dilute the value, squeeze the value out of Microsoft's own kingdom, which is something we're gonna do from the Mass perspective. We're gonna partner with all the different players in Web3. I'm just gonna have several examples. The matter is multi-chain player like Near, Solana, Flow. Layer 2 players, Ethereum Foundation, and there's many other friends, Storage, DeFi, DAOs. The key is to tell the user, hey, you don't need to leave Twitter and Facebook. You can stay there and join the revolution, stay at home, right? And just by simply install on the website, simply install an extension and hook up with your MetaMask, and then you're done. Right? You're into the Web3 revolution, and it is part of the great revolution. And we have all the support from the existing ones, from the DeFi and NFTs. That's the Mass background, and why should we leverage on Web2 giants infrastructure? Well, because they will never go away. This is also something I want to clearly tell everyone. Even though today's ETH Shanghai conference is really optimistic about the future, but unfortunately, you can see Web2 is never going away in a short period of time. It's more likely they're gonna be replaced with an overtop protocol, and this new overtop protocol accumulate value over time, and convert users belief of web, users understanding of the platform into the understanding of protocols, and eventually the Web2 have less value, but not going away. The similar example is the ISP and carrier, right? Web 1 and Web 2 never able to kill the ISP and mobile phone carrier. You still use your mobile phone carrier every day. You still have your cell phone number. But when you use an instant messenger like WhatsApp or WeChat, you're using the carrier number as an identifier for your new identity. So that's the over top solution, right? You're still using the old number, and however, this old number is able to scale in the new world, right? Your old cell phone number able to scale in the WeChat world, right? And you have resilience over the old network. The old network really have no idea what's going on, because at least you have some kind of encryption, you have some kind of like layer on top of it. And it's going to be how happen again in Web3, right? By adding mask on top of or the Web2 social platforms or more than social platforms, create a layer, and that layer going to squeeze all the value and capture more value, and eventually user can activate themselves from Web2 to Web 2.0, Web 2.5, and then gradually Web 3, and then all the existing platforms only become the infrastructures. And I think this is coming soon in the next 5 years, which is going to be the largest topic after the DeFi and NFT in the Web3 area, right? So how does it work exactly? And this is just an example. I actually want to skip this part so you can have more surprise during our hackathon. And not only this part, but also this part, the mass become the middleware power the entire new generation social network. I'm gonna just talk a little bit about this part, but remember, if you're a developer, if you're willing to do something, you should join the ETH Shanghai hackathon. It's happening from today to June the 3rd. It will be really amazing if you can put all these together. So once you connect the Web 2 and Web 3 through Mask, especially for a social network, the backend protocols and components can have a lot of things to do with the new social front end, right? You're going to have the new domain system. You're going to have the new identity system, no matter it's ceramic or Mask homebrewed XID. New communication system. You have the wallet-to-wallet DM protocols, new social graph, and you're going to have social NFT for distribution, referral, social token credentials, etc., etc. And on the other side, if you don't feel happy with the current Twitter, you say, hey, I want to just add some new front end elements for current Twitter. Yeah, why not? So we are editing the current Twitter, etc., etc. And then the front end, there's many other experiments for the new different type of the social network, such as the Talk for the forum, and there's definitely a lot of people doing the Discord and Telegram. And we wanted to have Collabland as our sponsor. You have definitely used that before, right? To verify you own this NFT, to own some NFT and join some Discord for a Discord channel. Yeah, so that's all in our ecosystem, and we have all these great experiments with all our friends. And today, I think it's your job to carry on to say, hey, okay, well, I can do some more interesting stuff, and love to see all your creations during the hackathon. And little bit more about the Next ID, which is also the sponsor of the hackathon. You're probably able to see its SDK. Next ID is trying to aggregate all different kind of DIDs. So at least now I heard of 20 DIDs, right? And the beautiful part of Web3 is the composability. It's not the fragmentation like the Web 2. We don't want to see another 20 DID, another like 30, and another 10 decentralized storage protocols, or another 30 social protocols to create another chaos. But we don't want to just compete with them. So the next ID become the aggregator for the decentralized ID and social graph protocols, right? Including Lens, RS3, maybe even Keybase. It's more Web 2, and Galaxy, Cyber, all these players, and Ceramic, which is the storage player for DID. You're gonna learn more about this, and next time you're gonna able to aggregate all the Web2 identity and Web3 identity together. I believe during the hackathon, we're gonna have workshop on the XID and or the name I mentioned. They're gonna have their own independent workshop on how to use the technology together. And eventually, what's gonna be the next of the decentralized social network, especially what's gonna be the next of Mask, right? So we are trying to be more like a DAO. We definitely build more things internally, but we want to collaborate with Bitcoin, which is also the co-host today and co-host for the hackathon. And Mask is the second largest donor and bounty issuer for Bitcoin. The largest one is by I believe it's the Zero Foundation itself, right? And many of the great functionality is completed by the Bitcoin independent hacker, bounty hacker. There's ecosystem investment. You probably heard of that in a lot of news. And we're gonna actually announce the ecosystem fund about Mask Network dedicated more on this decentralized social network very soon. For now, we already actually invested more than 70 projects. I think the most recent number is around 85 projects. Half of them are in the social space, decentralized social and decentralized entertainment, and they have a strong synergy with the Mask Network. And we all try to solve one problem: how to migrate those great Web2 people into Web3, right? And the features are here, and these are just very early features. And I believe after today, after joining hackathon, you're able to build more interesting stuff, right? And a lot of the logos here are sponsored in our hackathon. These are just old functionalities you probably heard of, right? The trading was used to, the first partnership was with the Uniswap. Initial trade offering when Mask launches on Mask token, social alliance as mentioned. Twitter profile avatar, we actually proposed this in the Blue Sky. Social gaming, it's going to be very fun to have your social gaming like Zynga back in the Web3 world, but this time it's pure independent. We don't need to worry about your API issue, right? Lucky drop, encrypted files, pay to unlock, Web3 tab, and merge feed. There's at least several projects trying to do the Web3 feed. And how about merge them back with the Web2 feed, right? So that's something we already provided, and we're happy to have people build on top as well. And we already supported all these great layer 1, layer 2, and there's many upcoming partners. Yeah, so eventually, Mask is trying to be the leading provider between the Web2 and Web3 and become the leading player for the Web3 social. And again, I think Web3 social or decentralized social network or SocialFi is just part of the great revolution. And the end of revolution, the goal of revolution is to create independent cyberspace that is superseding nation state. Decentralized finance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFT, GameFi is just the opening of it. And we have SocialFi, which is probably larger than all of these, and it's not going to stop there. Then we're going to have decentralized nation state, right? Network state, maybe other experiments from the decentralized education or DAO. But today, I hope this is not the last ETH Shanghai. This is just the first ETH Shanghai, and every year we're probably going to have more great, experiments, great progress from the industry. And next year we can share more here, and next year we can see the swine of decentralized social network, and maybe in 10 years we can see this independent cyberspace that is going to be homebrewed by the young hackers, young generation builders. So let's fucking go and let's fuck you. This is our social media account. Please follow if you're interested. And yeah, feel free to ask me anything. Thank you.